Dan here with another comic book weekly wrap-up. What I try to do is I try to share with you guys, like, all the books I've read for the week. And I read a lot of comic books. I mean, I do read regular books, but I tend to read a lot of comics and graphic novels just because they're so much faster and easier to read than regular books. So if you're somebody who's maybe new to comic books, or maybe somebody who's like read a few books but you're just not sure what more there is out there that you would like to read, or perhaps you're somebody who's never read any comic books, it's good that you're here because I'm going to share with you books, comic books, yes, and I'm going to share with you the good and the bad. If it's something that's really bad, I'm not going to really go into too much depth about it. I'll just say, hey, this is why I thought it was bad, etc., all that. Well, anyways, I try to put in the thumbnail a majority of the books, or at least a few books, because sometimes, you know, it's a little picture of the thumbnail, and I try to fit in what I can. But if you want to know what is entirely in this comic book wrap-up, click the link down below, and it's got like a complete list of all the books I've read for the week. Well, anyways, enough of me rambling. I just wanted to throw that out there because I know I have, you know, new subscribers that may not be familiar with the way I've set these up. The first book for the week I read was All New Captain America, Volume 1, Hydra Ascendant. I first off want to say, I think it was the Iron Nail. It was either the Iron Nail or another book shortly after that that introduced Falcon, who is Sam Wilson, as the new Captain America. Of course, if you did not know, Steve Rogers, like, he was attacked by this, like, dragon-type villain, and something to do with that attack made him lose his, like, his super soldier formula, and it sapped all the, like, youth out of his body and strength, and he's a frail old man now, so he had to find somebody else to take up his mantle. And of course there have been other Captain Americas. I know at one time U.S. Agent was a Captain America. I think Nomad became a Captain America. And there was the Winter Soldier, who was Bucky, who was his sidekick. Well, Falcon was another sidekick of Captain America. And I thought it was a good change. I was like, yeah, I mean, this guy could make a good Captain America. And I thought the whole concept of the wings was interesting. So I was all for Falcon becoming Captain America until I read this. And this is his debut book, so I kind of feel bad. Like, the whole time I was reading it, I kind of felt bad that I wasn't rooting for this Captain America. Because I honest to God, I didn't really know too much about Falcon. I knew that he was a Captain America sidekick. I knew that he flew with, like, mechanical wings. But I didn't know that he had, like, powers. Who would have known? And they kind of revealed that in this book. And I guess he's kind of like a Beastmaster, if you remember that movie from the 80s, where this guy could, like, control or communicate with animals. So he's sort of like Tarzan, but it's only toucans, you know, like out in the jungle, it's only birds. So he kind of communicates with birds, and he can see through their eyes. And then I was like, really? That's Captain America? And there was this one quote in the book. Somebody was saying, well, he's not my Captain America. And it just rang true for me. I'm like, this guy is not Captain America. I was really all for him being Captain America. And, you know, at the end of this volume, it's like Secret Wars. So who's to say that Sam Wilson will even still be Captain America? I haven't read any of the books following the Secret Wars, so I don't know if Sam Wilson is still Captain America or not. But I just thought this was really weak and watered down. It just didn't live up to my expectations of what I think is being Captain America. So sadly, I only rated this 3 out of 5 stars. It could have been worse. I could have rated it 2 out of 5 stars, but I originally liked the idea of this guy being Captain America, so it was kind of disappointing to see that he's really not that great. He's just a dude with wings who talks to birds. That really seems kind of lame to me, honestly. After that, I picked up Deadpool Original Sin. This is volume 6 in the Deadpool books. And what happens with Deadpool, of course, he married his wife Shikla. She's like this demoness, I guess you could call her. It's kind of strange, and I haven't read the books that the wedding of Deadpool and all that, but I did read some earlier books where they showed her introduction, and Deadpool got married to her. And of course, there's this rivalry between Deadpool, Shikla, and Dracula because she was originally supposed to be the bride of Dracula. So Deadpool goes and tries to recruit Dazzler because he knows she has these powers to turn sound into light. And little does he know, and it's not supposed to be a spoiler because at this point you should already know if you're keeping books up chronologically, that Dazzler is... the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent Dazzler is really Mystique, so she doesn't have any of those powers. So he goes back in the past. He doesn't know. He's just like, well, what the fuck, Dazzler? Why won't you help me? So he goes back in the past and he recruits Disco Dazzler from the 70s. And she's all down for helping him and yada, yada, yada. And come to find out, Deadpool has a daughter, which was like a total shocker. And I'm not going to say anything more about that because I don't want to spoil the story for you or reveal anything more about Deadpool's family because they kind of let you know about that in this book. But with all of that being said, I would have thought that this would have been a great book, but no, I only rated this one 3 out of 5 stars too. Sorry. I just, I love Deadpool, and I like the fact that Brian Posehn is writing this now, who's an actual comedian. And the first few Deadpool books were really pretty funny. This is kind of losing its lackluster. It's not as funny as it used to be, but... oh yeah, and Alpha Flight is in this one. In the back, there was like a secret mission that, like, from his past that was revealed. But yeah, it is what it is. If you're into learning more about Deadpool. Up next we have Harley Quinn, and this is just a compilation book. This isn't a series trade. As you can see, it features all of these different people, like Paul Dini, who did that Batman animated series, and there's a couple other ones I'm not too familiar with. But I do have to say, for the record, compared to every other Harley Quinn book I've read, this one has been the best. And it's collected stories from Batman Harley Quinn #1, Batman Gotham Knights 14 and 30, Detective Comics, Joker's Asylum 2, Batman Black and White, Legends of the Dark Knight, and Detective Comics 23.2. So it features a number of different issues, and I thought that made this story really good because, yes, while the whole collection was not spectacular or great, a bulk majority of it was. Like, there were certain stories that were just... and I will admit, some of these I've already read in previous volumes of Harley Quinn, or... possibly, one of them I think was in the Suicide Squad. A couple of them were in the Joker storyline that I read. So yeah, while they were not all new material to me, I still really, really enjoyed this. And if you are a fan of Harley Quinn or the Joker, I definitely think you should check this one out. I'm going to show you a little bit from the book so you see all the different art styles. Like, some of these are just really great. Like, I love this one, the artwork in that one. There's another. And some covers. There's another one. So I did rate this 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I thought it was a really, really great story, especially focusing on Harley Quinn. So if you have not already checked this out, definitely check this one out. It was worth it. After that, I picked up Jim Butcher's The Dresden Files, and this is volume 1. It's Stormfront. And one of the librarians I used to work with at the college library had recommended the Jim Butcher series, The Dresden Files. She recommended it to me. She says, I think because you read these types of books, you might really enjoy this. So I didn't go full on and get one of the novels, but I was browsing the comics at my local library, and I happened to see that they had this, and I was like, well, I'll give it a try because, you know, it was recommended to me. Now, what it is a detective who is a wizard named Harry Dresden, and it takes place in, it's like it's urban fantasy, I guess you would say, because it's like the real world, but yet like magic and like supernatural things exist in this world. The way it was written kind of reminded me of Charlene Harris's vampire series there, the Sookie Stackhouse series. It kind of reminded me of that because it kind of had elements of the mystery and being a detective and supernatural elements. So it really reminded me of that. It was kind of on the same vein. I don't know that the Jim Butcher books are the same way, or if it just felt that way because this is a graphic novel. But the artwork was decent, you know, traditional like Marvel artwork. Overall, I did rate this only 3 out of 5 stars. I just thought it was okay. The story was decent, but it wasn't a page turner for me. It just was really short and just kind of felt like, you know, blah. I mean, it was okay. Did it really convince me to want to read one of the novels? I'm not sure. The following book I read after the last one is Great Pacific Volume 1, and this is trashed. This is an Image comic, and I wasn't really sure about this one because I picked it up on a whim. I was browsing the shelves, and I happened to come across this. And it kind of sounds, you know, interesting by the title alone. But then, you know, it's got a really slow start. Well, anyways, what it's about is about a millionaire's son who decides to take it upon himself to try to fix the world. And there's this swirling pool, like vortex of garbage that's out in the Pacific Ocean. So this guy decides to claim it as his own little country, and there's like sea monsters. That's why there's tentacles on the front page, and I won't say anything more about it. And there's other surprises awaiting him on this floating island of garbage. It did start out rather slowly, but as soon as it got to the climax of the volume, it really got interesting. So I do have to say, for a title that I've never heard of, I thought this was great, and I did rate this 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. If you are into like kind of sci-fi scenarios, it's kind of futuristic, but it's not too far in the future. But it is definitely interesting, and I think I will be looking for other volumes of this. I really enjoyed it. After that, I started reading In Real Life by Dr. Rowe. I know this was really trendy on BookTube, and I have the funny feeling that this was probably a book-splosion book, because I see that a lot of big booktubers, like, they all, like, oh, it's 5 stars, you know, like, but I did read it because I like reading graphic novels. I love comics, so of course I was bound to read it sometime. Anyways, if you have not heard about it, if you don't know what it's about a girl who gets recruited by this video game company to play their MMO because they say there aren't enough girl gamers, especially girl gamers who actually play girl characters. So she's paid to play this MMO, and it's got underlying issues of gold farmers and world economy and stuff like that. The artwork is cutesy, and it's published by First Second, I think, is the publishing house. But I really think this book was overly hyped. It is really not a 5-star book, in my opinion, and I've seen later reviews from other people in the community that felt the same way. This is really just an average graphic novel, one that I only rated 3 out of 5 stars. It's really just okay. If you're a gamer and you like MMOs, and you like comics, then yeah, maybe check it out. But it's kind of a dry read. It's not too exciting. After that, I picked up Wonder Woman Mission's End. I'll have to admit, I have not read too many Wonder Woman books, and it's written by Greg Rucka. I enjoy everything that Greg Rucka has written. So, I know this has to do with Infinite Crises, so I was like, I'll check it out. And some of this has material, of course, but it's not as bad as like the New 52s where they just reprint everything. This only had like one small section of reprinted material. But anyways, it has to do with Wonder Woman and her fighting the OMAC. And a little more about like trying to save her island there. Themyscira, I think it's called, or whatever. But it was just okay. It wasn't, I don't know. It got a rating of 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, but I just thought it was okay, and I only rated it 3 out of 5 stars. Would I read any more classic Wonder Woman? I probably would, but, you know, I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't that great either. So that's that one. And then after that, this was another one that I happened to come across. I was browsing, and it's called the Blackburn Covenant, and it's a Dark Horse book. So it sounds like it's going to be like a Lovecraftian type, horror, or like witches or something. And the premise of this one is it's this guy who has this secret organization trying to kill him, and he really doesn't know why, and he sees like vegetation every once in a while just out in the world, and he feels like this connection to it. And they don't really reveal why that is until like almost the end of the book, which I thought was really crummy because he's like this reincarnation of this old like Wiccan like practitioner, this old witch, and he's a reincarnation of her. And it sounds like a great premise, but if they just could have written it a little better, it would have been more enjoyable. Well, this is kind of dry because it has a lot of very slow parts. It's just like him talking about his life as an author and just going to bars and getting drunk, and it's just really slow to build. And if it would have like been told a little bit better, and they would have like let you in on what it was really about a little earlier, I think this would have been more enjoyable. But I did only rate this one 2 out of 5 stars. I just really didn't think it was that great, just by the way it was told. So that, I think, is going to be my final book for this weekly wrap-up. If you have not already subscribed to my channel and you love comics and you want to see week to week the new comics I will share with you every week, then hit the subscribe button, by all means. If you've read any of these books, let me know what you thought of them. If you have any suggestions for me, also let me know about those down below. So thanks for watching, and until next time, later guys.